Hello again, and welcome to Astropreneur. This one recording is not going to cover helpful hints and so on. I want to talk about a little pet project of mine. And I suppose pet project is a wrong term to be using, but it's a project that's very dear to my heart. Being into astronomy and being into 3D printers, this project has brought my love of both into one. Now, one of the interesting things about this project is I do a lot of community outreach and a lot of astronomy outreach for the public, and as part of that I've come across an area of the members of the public I could not do outreach with, and part of that was the blind community. Now, I do planetarium shows, I do take out telescopes and show people the night sky and explain what they're seeing and talk about science and the physics and so on, but I could never reach the sight impaired community, and that got me thinking, and I did a bit of searching around, and everything in the sight community, the lack of sight community, those who are blind or partially blind or who are officially blind but have partial sight, cannot experience the night sky like most of us can. So they cannot go out to look through telescopes because their vision is not good enough for them to be able to see anything. Everything that the blind do and the way they learn astronomy and so on is on a flat surface. So I started thinking about this and tried to find a better solution. So I went through many iterations, and my final outcome was this. Now, this is one of four. This represents the this represents the winter sky, and it only covers the constellation of the winter sky. I have four of them, one for each season, covering the major constellations of each season. And let me explain a little bit about it. First of all, it's very large. It is 250 millimeters wide, and I printed on my Ender 5 Plus because that's the only printer I have that has a large enough bed to print this. So it's a hemisphere, and on this hemisphere I have raised surfaces representing the night sky. So first of all, we have right here these two stars. This is Procyon, and if we zoom right into Procyon, you'll see it's a large bump, and these large bumps represent the brighter stars. This is Canis Minor, the small dog. Joining going from one constellation to the next is these raised tactile broken lines. Now, in a newer version of this, and I'm still working on it as we speak, it's not completed yet, I have replaced these with actually tactile arrows instead. And then so you go from Procyon to Sirius, which is in Canis Major, the big dog, and you have the outline of the constellations. So the large dots are the brightest stars, or the main stars. Smaller stars are represented by smaller bumps, as you see here, and then they're joined as solid lines, which makes up the shape of the constellation. Then you hop over to the next one, and most people will know this one. This is Orion. So you have Orion's belt. So we have the constellation of Orion here, and you hop on over to the next. This one here is Taurus the bull. So you have the angry eye of Taurus the bull, and you have his horns, and then it comes down to his snout. And then you come over from Taurus, we have the Pleiades, or the Seven Sisters. From there you jump up to Origa, the chariot, and then drop down into Gemini, where we have Castor and Pollux in the constellation of Gemini. And then we hop from that over to Ursa Major. So you have the Big Dipper, or Ursa Major, and you have Mizar and Alcor, these two stars here, which is a double star pair, but it's a method of letting them experience that via tactile touch. And finally ending with Ursa Minor, so following the two stars at the end of the Big Dipper, draw lines through them into Polaris onto Ursa Minor. Now, as I said, I have four of these, one for each season. This is the winter sky, and it represents the constellations of each season. And my goal is, when I'm finished with the final design, and this is still a work in progress, as I said, when I'm completed with the final design, there will be a start rough area here printed, and that rough area will be your starting point for whoever is going to be using the tactile domes. And along with it will be an audio script pre-recorded, so someone who is blind, or in a school for the blind, or in a science center, they can actually play the audio, and the audio will play back, giving instructions to the person who's blind how to navigate their way around the hemisphere, and as well as that, telling them the stories of each of the constellations and the names of the main stars in each constellation. So I just thought I'd share this with you. It's a little pet project of mine. This is a slight labor of love on my behalf, because it does join both my astronomy and my 3D printing, as well as my outreach events that I do, and which I do a lot of. Not this year because of COVID, but in general I do a lot of outreach events throughout the year. So, little pet project that I've been working on, and I find that this project will, when it comes to conclusion, the plan would be to make it freely available to schools for the blind and to science centers, so they can use it for public outreach with the members of the community that are sight impaired or that are totally blind. Well, thank you again for listening in to Astroprinter. As always, please subscribe. Click on the subscribe button below, and if you find the information that I'm providing to be useful and helpful or interesting, and you want to encourage more content creation, please go to my Patreon link, which is in the description of the video, and subscribe to me on Patreon and help contribute, and keep printing.